Hello everybody, this is Richard from the Metal South podcast. I'm absolutely delighted to say I'm talking to Sintax all the way from Israel. So I have Slava on bass. Hello Slava.
Hi.
I have Roy on guitars.
Yeah. Hi.
And I have Yehi. Is it Yehi?
Well, it's actually pronounced Yehi, but you can call me Yehi because that's the way they call me abroad.
Okay. Yehi on
There is no
vocals.
that sound. It's only in our area you have that sound in the vocabulary.
Lots of tobacco needs to kind of bring out that kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So congratulations, first of all, on your new single, Lunchtime Funeral. Respect,
Oh, yeah.
absolute, as we call it over in Europe, a banger of a song.
Hi. Thank you.
Thanks.
What?
Today, 2 hours ago, we released a new single.
Yeah,
Really?
Oh, okay.
We released a new single just today.
Oh, very good, man. Fucking hell. So tell us about that first, then.
Well, it's a banger of a song. It's called River, Sting, and Honey. And there are too many connotations since this is the land of milk and honey, and there are, well, I'll let Yechi talk about it because he never likes that people explain his lyrics too much because everybody needs to understand it the way they understand it.
Correct, yeah.
But Yechi, you have something to say because I think the lyrics are, I really like this song.
Of course.
Phrases I adopted in my language.
Go for it, Yehi.
Like in the end, smoking cannabis is some kind of an escape from reality, and in the reality that we live in, it's like a hint to the authorities that maybe they should let go in that manner because all the other stuff is kind of hard these days, and they should let us escape every once in a while. Just simple little song.
Yeah. It is still illegal to smoke here in Ireland because of the medicinal purposes of marijuana. I think that's the way it will go, and we'll eventually get it legal here.
Hopefully, I mean, there's talks about here just recently about this subject. Like it's all over the news in the past week, actually, because they're trying to pass a new law of criminalization. That in the end you might get fined, but it won't be recognized as a crime.
Yes, that's very
Which is
important.
A step forward in the right direction, absolutely.
Yeah, because a lot of people in Ireland, anyway, in the last up to last year, more or less, if they got caught with marijuana, they got fined and they got a strike. So it's, it will come up if they want to travel abroad and stuff. It's kind of a criminal, they'll have a criminal record for having 10 euros worth of grass. Mental. It's crazy. Like.
Yeah, in here as well, just the same.
Is it really? Yeah.
It was here like this a few years ago. Like they had laws that if you smoke or if you get with some marijuana, so you'll get how do you say it?
Prison sentence or fine.
Like it's a felony. They treat it like it's a felony.
Okay.
If you stole something. Yeah. But again, in the end, I mean, this song is about freedom, and it's not. This is only one subject that I touched when I wrote the song, but the idea is just let people do whatever they want as long as they don't harm other people.
And how easy is it to grow marijuana out there? Very easy, is there?
No, you can't, but it's all over the place because in the past 2 years, man, they legalized the medical Mary Jane. So it kind of flooded the market, and the level of the stuff is like increasing. So nothing to complain about lately. I'm not a heavy, stoner. I do it sometimes, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. But it's just one example of how the authorities are enforcing laws that are anti-liberal to an extent that it's already, you know, ruin your freedom and your basic right, I believe.
Yeah, well, it's a threat to the pharmaceuticals as well from kind of a medicinal purposes. And
Yeah.
the farmers don't want that, obviously. So they're driving that on as well, not to have it legal because, you know, they can't, I suppose, monopolize it, you know?
Everybody has an angle these days.
True.
And because there's so much information, then a lot of information is biased because it's biased by someone. Everybody has his angle and wants to show his angle, and everything looks so authentic. It's really easy to make something look real.
Mm.
And all of us are quite lazy, so who checks the facts? Or at least say, I'll read about it enough and I'll read from enough sources and I'll do some research and I'll have my own idea about something. And that's something that happens a lot. It's quite easy. All I need is my iPhone. I can do a small video. And I remember in the day of print, you know, still the day of print, still there's papers, but there was a study that says that if you write something and you see it printed, then automatically a person thinks that it's more true than if I'll tell it to you.
Yes. Mm.
Because someone took the time and write it and make an article and it's something. So it's probably has some more legitimacy. But now it's so easy to do stuff like this. I just take my phone, I blah blah something, I said the earth is flat, and I have friends that believe that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's someone who, I know people that believe that the earth is flat. That's a shame.
But it just goes to show how social media can manipulate people so much, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible.
Because one of the things is that the algorithm, when you're, let's say, that doesn't matter, let's say Facebook. So for Facebook, you write your stuff and it pairs you down with people that think the same as you.
Yes.
So you're reading your feed and everything is what you're saying.
Mm.
I had a neo-Nazi friend, not a friend exactly, but we met in a guitar forum, and he sent me a friendship on Facebook, and then I understood that he's a neo-Nazi. Not like a little bit, but really raving. I didn't care. I just wrote stuff about the Jews till he blocked me. But
yeah.
But when I went to his forum and his feed, then everybody were neo-Nazi there. Because if you're a neo-Nazi, then Facebook would bring all the neo-Nazis. So you think that the entire world are neo-Nazis. And if you're a flat earther, all your friends on Facebook are flat earthers. And people you don't know that are on your feed are flat earthers. So you think everybody's are like that. So it gives you a fake perception. Yes. You can be like 1% of the entire world, but you see that 1% every day on your feed, so you think that's the entire world. So social media is funny in that.
Yeah. Well, a band like ye, Sintax, ye definitely can use social media to your benefit to get to a larger audience.
Yeah, man. We come from a small geographic area. We come from Israel, which is isolated in the Middle East, surrounded by, let's say, a lot of countries that we don't have diplomatic relations with, and most of our music is you know, aimed towards the European and American crowd. So before social media, it was very hard to be exposed, and nowadays, you know, it's just heaven for people like us who are, you know, living in a distinct areas and still be able to approach so many people.
Yes.
In such short time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And considering, you know, where other bands maybe in similar countries to yourself, maybe 15 years ago, couldn't get that reach unless they got to a record label, or they might have got on a tour or something like that, you know?
Yeah, but even a record label, you know, think about it financially, how worth it to a record label to pay an Israeli band and bring them just as far as, you know, the fare of the tickets,
to Ireland, let's say.
The price of the tickets, yeah. And you know, it's not like if you're a band from the Czech Republic and you can travel by train through Germany and Austria and Slovakia and like reach all over Western Europe in a rolling tour.
Mm. But a lot of bands from Europe then would like to get to America, and they face the same situations
Yeah,
as yourself.
yeah.
It's just feasibly not possible. Guys on the last podcast or 2 podcasts ago, they were saying a trash band called Gamma Bomb. I'm not sure if you ever heard of them. Yeah, to get to America, it was costing them 20 grand, 20,000.
Wow, wow.
Wow.
Out of their own
Wow.
pockets. That's
Yes.
a
Yeah.
crazy amount of money. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have toured America, they've toured Brazil, and they've toured Mexico as well. So they actually did it with support of a record label. But whether they can do it again for that amount, you know, it's just nuts. You know, there's a lot of limitations in relation to where you are as a country, obviously.
Yeah, and being on the media helped, because I seen like a documentary on Queen, big band, and they stopped touring America at somewhere in the 80s because they weren't that popular there. And Freddie Mercury said, if it's not a full sold stadium, I don't want to go. So and they say in hindsight, but if you don't go, how are you going to get to a full stadium? So,
Yeah.
so they never went again. So they never went from the mid 80s and less, from the start of the 80s, they never went to America again.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And it's the same. You said you have a band. It's cost 20,000 grand to do a tour in America. But if you won't do a tour in America, how people will actually react to you? But now with all the videos and all the social media, it's not the same. It's not the same as winning someone live. When I'm still old school, I like when I see a band live. It's so much more for me. But still, it's a possibility that we didn't have. Now it's a different thing. It's like the thing is the competition, because it's so easy to make music, even bad music or any music, or work on it 5 minutes and do something, that there are so many bands that how are you going to distinguish yourself? How are you going to even get heard?
Yeah.
Like there's like, let's say 2,000 bands now aiming. Does anyone will sit now and listen to 2,000 singles and say, oh, I like this?
Yeah, it's mental.
Very few.
But you got to Europe in 2015. You got to Germany and Czech Republic. Was that through the record label, or was it through some promoter you got in contact with? How did that work out?
Well, through a promoter and a band we know, band contact. You know, like we knew a band, they performed here. We went to perform with them there. We did a nice tour. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. We took our own backline, and I can say that I did some how you call it, guitar work for someone else.
Okay.
I did some work for I played on a big tour for someone, and I can say that financially we were covered when we did our tour, and we have our own backline, and we paid for the backline, and we paid for everything, and we got the ticket sales, and we had a blast, and everything was great. And I did a tour, like, you know, with the band, with a lot of bands and stuff like that. And I can say that at the end, it's better to do that. What we do.
And
we went to some better venues, and we got we got treated better. We got better money. We got more respect from the places we did the shows in. So all in all, I think this stuff like that is the way to go.
For a band like Sintax, it always looks good on your CV, as I call it, to have toured Europe, to have got out of Israel, you know, and done a tour. Do you think you're going to do that again?
This is absolutely one of our goals, yeah. And I think that the people that are in the band currently, because we had a few personal changes, are more enthusiastic about traveling. Yeah,
Yeah.
about taking the music other places.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
we're all getting a bit old here.
Um,
Slava looks young, but I'd say the three of us are
yeah.
in our 40s.
yeah, I'm 44 years old nowadays. I was born in 1976.
I'm 49.
Hi,
Whoa.
man. When I was born, Elvis
I,
was still alive. We say always.
I was born 11 days after him, so yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
It's impressive that for guys our age that you still want to tour, do the whole sleeping
man.
on floors and getting a van and go for it, you know?
I look, it's my life. I run a bar, a rock and roll bar. I have another band, and like anything I do is around the music. All the money I made in the past 20 years was from the music business.
Yeah.
I'm also promoting shows. I have an annual festival in Jerusalem. I have an like a bar that is it's a venue for live shows. So we're hosting
Blaze. Is it
almost
Blaze?
daily. Yeah, it's around the clock work. It's crazy times. It's hard to run a business like that, but I wouldn't change it for anything. You know.
What's your opinion then on bands that want to boycott Israel and refuse to play there because of the political unrest?
Look, I think there's a lot of misconception about what's going on in here because in the end, we, the people, we're not that involved in the politics.
Mm.
Like in the end, like one of the, let's say, the biggest names known today is Roger Waters. He performed there, but he insisted on doing it in the border between the Palestinian Authority and Israel. But the majority of the people who came there were let's say rockers and like music enthusiasts that are mostly from the left side of the political map. These people are not for not for any kind of discrimination and I think it's for no reasonable reason all these
Yeah.
boycotts because
I
again,
think Nick Cave summed it up very good. The artist Nick Cave, he said that it became very important to make a stand against those people who are trying to shut down musicians, to bully musicians, to censor musicians, and to silence musicians. You know.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's now again that the black metal band are banned in the USA because they say they are fascist. And because we're Jews, we really know who is a fascist band because usually they talk about us as Jews. So we make it our business to know who is a fascist band or a Nazi band. And there are a few bands that in the course of the years, people are and promoters we know, and they did shows in Israel, and people that you know personally, and they got banned, Antifa, activists, and it's like when they started and they say, you remember that metal was against the church and metal is the devil and it will make suicide, and now they're saying extreme metal is fascist again. But they don't check the facts, Most of those bands are not. There are. I won't defend Varg Vickers, I won't defend him. He's raving crazy. But but there are bands that got the wrong side of the stick for nothing. People are less tolerant these days, and they have a solid opinion about everything, even though they spend 10 minutes to read something and to form an opinion that is that substantial.
Yeah.
Like this. And I think it's something wrong. You always need to be doubtful about everything. And when you get older, you see that a lot of things that you read and that like I saw something in the street in front of me and then I read it in the paper and it wasn't the same. So I start to understand that sometimes you need to read from, you need to investigate more before you.
But
you
music,
judgment on everything.
Music.
And music is free.
Yeah, music is meant to unite. It's not meant to boycott. It's a cultural expression, it's an artist's expression, and to boycott it because of that, I think it's wrong. That's my own opinion.
All right. Well, we're glad to hear that. For sure.
Yeah. So in relation to your new album, I saw an interview with you, maybe 4 years ago, and you were, I think it was with an American magazine, I think, and you were like talking about your last album, and you were saying, oh, you kind of joined Sintax with a lot of those songs were wrote, and then you had to rewrite a lot of the lyrics, and then and then Sway for Another Day, yeah, and then you said, yeah, we've new music, and this is back in 2015, and you said, yeah, we'll have a new album out next year and stuff. What happened?
Well, first of all, you talked about the tour a little bit. So I think when you're going on a tour, you're getting to know your band members better, and a lot of people that were in the band, and there were a lot of people in the band, like in the past few years, they were not stable enough and not willing to sacrifice enough for that. So we started to write material, then some people changed, and we actually prefer doing it well, and that it will be our perfect product, and to the best of our abilities, and not just compromise on what was going on back then. So we postponed it year after year after year, but I think now we're much more there artistically, and also the team is, as we say, unite to a level that we can do something like that. Because I mean, I love the first album, really, but you can't compare.
Oh, good. Okay.
This one is really, more personal lyrics wise, more sharp, more extreme, but still more catchy. I think we've reached a level that we couldn't have dreamed of with the past members of the band.
Yeah, Lunchtime Funeral, which was the first single, absolutely fantastic. Loved it, and I'll be playing that on this interview anyway, so others from Ireland can hear that. And the album is called Nano 3000.
That's
correct?
true.
Yeah.
Okay, how did you come up with that name?
Well, I guess I'm the one who's supposed to answer that, right? Because Nano 3000 is a product from the year 3000, of course, fictional one.
Okay.
It's a dog that is combined with a robot. The idea came from an article I read about a Russian experiment, a Soviet experiment in the 50s, that they actually tried to do that. I found some pictures, and it was terrifying and fascinating in the same level. And I had a vision in my head of that dog. I wanted to call it Nano 3000 and just make the cover as if it's the cover of the box that contained that dog that you buy it in.
I hope you didn't experiment on your own dog.
No, I don't. And my dog has passed away 3 years ago. It's all good.
Sorry to hear that, man.
It was a miniature pincher named Butcher.
I saw. Did he make
imagine.
an appearance on You Can't Teach an Old Dog New Tricks? No.
No, that's Roy's dogs.
That was
The
my
big
dog.
one. Yeah. These are not miniature pinchers.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. But anyway, Nano 3000. If you go through the cover art of the album, and you go to the inlay pages, you can see instructions how to build it, like IKEA style instructions, very easy, to put together. And it's just a creepy idea about what's gonna happen with all this technology in 1,000 years, let's say. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's why I call it Nano 3000. It took some convincing, because the members of the band were like, dude, that's a very obscure and weird name, but said, I think people will remember it that way.
If you have the artwork to back it up, it will work.
That's what I think. And the guy who made the artwork, his name is Nadav. We tried a few people. They tried some people from abroad, and some people sent us sketches. We always closed with them. And then someone came to my bar. He just finished art school. He was one of the best students over there. And he showed me some of his works. And a lot of it was robotic parts that he just drew perfectly.
Jeez,
And I was like,
okay.
dude, this is what I'm looking for. And
Destiny.
you know, in 5 seconds we said the deal. He said, if you ever need a cover for an album, I said, I need a cover for an album. This is what I need. You just don't understand. And before that, I wrote like a long mess, a long letter to the band, just to express my idea. It was a very long letter, like with the pictures of the Russian experiment and everything. So I sent it to him. It was like it took me a while to find it. It was like a few months after we talked about it. He was like, his eyes went, open like this. He's like, I can do it. I see it visually. And you know, when an artist is responding that way to your
There he is.
idea.
He's just made an appearance there.
Oh my.
Slava, how persuasive can Yehi be?
Very persuasive. You can actually he can persuade you at anything. I'm playing with him in two bands.
That's right.
We
Yeah.
have two bands, and actually he the one who brought me to the band
Ah, okay.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Is
And
that
they
with Dusfera? How do you pronounce it? Dusfera? No?
He plays with me. Yeah, there was Sfera. He plays with me in both bands.
They're a stoner band, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different vibe completely. But I think he played in Sintax before there was Sfera, Slava.
Yeah.
I know him. I know him from my bar and from festivals I organized. He used to play in a lot of covers band, in a heavy metal band. He's a very talented bass player and a very mellow fellow. He's a very good guy, and we became friends. And the way from there to become a band member was very short. As soon as we were looking for a bass player, he was the first one I marked, as a nominee.
And did he replace Lemmy? No.
No, Lemmy was the guitar player.
Oh, Lemmy was the guitar player. Okay.
Yeah.
Why call yourself Lemmy if you're a guitar player?
Man, Lemmy is a friend of mine since we're like children. He was a child. We have a difference of 15 years between us. And he was Lemmy for Ian. Like since he's a kid, everyone called him Lemmy because he was a very enthusiastic Motorhead fan. And we all know Lemmy is God, so
Yes.
he knows what he's talking about. Yes.
And Lemmy kind of the hardcore leaning with your band when he was there, or how did you get that hardcore element in your band initially?
Lemmy was more hardcore than everyone. Everybody brought his own mixture. And Lemmy and the bass player that came from a punk band had a lot of they really like hardcore. So
yeah, they still have a band
to make
together,
it more hardcore, and they're still playing hardcore together. And we said, let's seal it with some hardcore influences, but let's not go overboard. Without Lemmy.
I mean, it's not. I like it. I like Sick of It All. I like Sick of It All. I like Agnostic Front. It's nice.
Biohazard.
Yeah, man. Biohazard. The Jews from Brooklyn, eh?
Yes, yeah. Hardcore and trash together. They really do it well.
Yeah.
So the influences with this album, you said it's more aggressive, yeah?
Well, what I read about this, people that even listen to the first track, and I know people that listen to the entire album, and we haven't, say, let's do heavier than a heavier thing because we can. But that was never our goal. But people tell me, I like this track. This track is very heavy. And the word, this track is very heavy. I read it too many times. And it really puzzled me because I didn't thought it was that heavy.
Yeah.
It was heavy. We like things to be, to the point. But I didn't thought that the impression that people will have on this album that it's more technical, that I understand, and more heavy. And heavy is always, it's so heavy. And so I guess it was, and even Lemmy told me, I listened to the song, it's a much heavier album. And I told him, I don't know, Lemmy, maybe a bit, but I guess I don't hear it, but people do say that. Now it's heavier.
Okay. Did you decide to stay with Mark Minute on this because he did such a great job on the previous album?
It's good to work with people you know,
Yeah.
And you know what to expect of them, and you know Mark did the new My Dying Bride, which is doing phenomenal.
Yeah.
So he is a good mixer, and we know what to expect, and we went on the same road. Will the third album will be Mark? Maybe yes, maybe not. There are so many variables in that equation when you.
He also did the mastering for both Diosfera's album, and we were so happy about it.
He's a very sweet guy.
Wonderful, very
wonderful guy. He always put extra work when he works on our project. Then we pay him.
So I know I know where Mark is from, okay, but the viewers don't. So how did you find Mark? Considering he's from Manchester.
That's Roy to answer.
Simple, like you find us. We weren't happy with the way the mixes of the first album went. I want to work with someone from abroad. So I just searched the internet. I said, we don't have a lot of cash. So we need someone not too expensive, but someone who will make this work. I just fell on him, and then I see he wrote on Sound, and then I see he's teaching in the University Sound, and I heard some of his mixes and said, they look good. Let's talk to him. He was very enthusiastic when he heard the music, and he told me, man, I got a lot of people coming, and I have work, but I want to work with you. So it looks like it could be a very good album. So once someone, like Yechi said about the artwork, when you have an artist that wants to work with you, that you know that he will put that 10% extra.
Yeah.
Because he really likes it. So he said, you know what, I will just do a little one. And we did the first album. And after that, when we did, it took us a while, and then we released that You Can't Teach an Old Dog New Tricks. So
I
wanted him just to master. He worked on it. I wanted to master it. He told me, Roy, your mixes. I'll do a quick mix for you, pro bono, man. And he just mixed it, like really fast and close it. And when you have a relationship with someone, I think, and you know what to expect, so yeah.
So the name Sintax, how did that come about?
First of all, when I came to the band, it was already named.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's the tax you pay for your sins, but it's like as if we're the tax that you pay for your sins. Just an extreme approach, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And like there is another band as well called Sintax, but it's spelled Syntax, and they're an electronic band or something like that.
Yeah, it makes sense because it's like a programming language, as far as I remember, or something like that.
Yeah,
like
it's the format in which words and phrases are arranged to create sentences. That's called a syntax.
Yeah.
You have lost the drummer. Nir is gone. Is that correct?
Yeah, we just it was just released from the band. Trying to achieve more things in his life. He moved to another city. He got married, and we're still in very good terms. We have a Pantera tribute band together, actually. That we're playing with.
How do you hear me?
Okay.
Now so much better, Roy.
Just turn it down a small bit, your volume.
How do you hear me?
Yeah.
So he's moved on, and you're still in contact. He's a savage drummer, lads. Brilliant.
Yeah, we love him.
Did he drum on the new album? Yeah, he must have done.
He did.
Yeah,
he did.
How hard is it to get musicians out in Israel in relation to where ye are, especially? Roy, do you want to answer that?
It's hard. Like a drummer is the harder.
Yeah. It's the same in Ireland.
Yeah,
it's the same in Ireland.
Same as everywhere, but there are just less people, and in this illusion country, Well, it's hard, because here, because of the climate, the political issues, the government breathing down your neck, there are military conflicts. Life is hard, and people are disillusioned. So finding someone saying, "I want to do this, and I will give everything I got, everything I have to make this succeed," it's much less people. People said, "I like to play, but not more than that.
Yeah.
I have to take care of my family. I have to do that."
Mm.
I think you need to have a more guarded life, easier life. Even me, sometimes when things get tough, I don't have the willpower to go and practice my instrument. It's not that I don't have the time. You don't have like the something for it, and you need to be. And when you get older, it's harder to find people that want to do like tours and stuff. It really scares people away, and you need to be a bit naive. There's something good being naive, not something always bad. You need to believe in something, and you want to take the road less traveled.
Yeah.
And you need to be a bit naive to try that, because
So what you're saying is
the consequences.
You need a young drummer.
Well, we
Maybe.
think we found someone. Yeah, we think we found someone. Well, we're gonna have a first rehearsal with him, and we don't want to expose anything yet, of course, because it's not a certain thing. But it looks like it's going to like towards a positive direction, and hopefully, very, 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 very soon, we'll be back on stages.
Yeah, because you do tour a lot around Israel.
Yeah.
And your fan base, is it predominantly in one city, or does it vary?
It's a small country, man. It's a small country. I mean, everything is quite united, and it's a one big scene.
Mm.
I mean, you can go of the furthest southern city, which is Beersheba. It's not the furthest one, but it's the one that is significant, has an actual scene, to the one up north, which is, let's say, Haifa, in 5 hours of ride, and that's the whole country, man.
Yeah.
It's like for Americans would know if I say it's in the size of New Jersey.
Yeah. Well, would you believe you have twice the population as Ireland? Your population is roughly around 8.8 million, and Ireland is only 4 million.
Oh, fine.
And did you get a chance to check out the Irish bands I sent you?
Well, I checked. I didn't send them. No to me.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so I sent you in Shroud.
You sent me 2 bands.
In Shroud and Arjun Azai.
Yeah, and I remember them by the order you sent them. I listened to a couple of them, both of them. And man, it was cool music. One was more modern than the other.
Mm-hmm.
But they have aggression. It was catchy. I always say what makes a song good, if I remember something after I close the song, is there something that you remember from what you just heard. Because sometimes you hear something, oh, how they play, oh, how interesting. And then the song ends, and can you recite in your mind something from the song? Mm-hmm. So it looks like nice bands. And now it's the weekend. I think I will explore a bit more,
Yes.
Check, see what else they had. I won't say which one. One band I liked and one I really liked. I don't want to say which I really liked, because that's only personal taste. As a musician, I respect both bands. They're like cool musicians, good players, and I will do some more investigating and to hear what they got.
Yeah, I will send you on some good links there, because we have a fantastic scene in Ireland, but it's completely underground, all self-financed. And again, Irish bands are trying to get over to England, get onto because we're an island, obviously, so we don't have that luxury again of just bands getting into a bus and driving to Europe. We have to go across to England and onto Europe then as well. So there's a lot of restrictions that way. So very few Irish.
So there's a lot of common ground here.
Correct. Yeah, that's why I wanted to hear your story, and I wanted to tell you about the Irish metal scene as well, you know, because we have fantastic bands, fantastic artists that design the cover of the albums, and a great scene. But again, we're kind of isolated as such.
Yeah, I've never been to Ireland, but I guess it's somewhere that you need to put on your places to be.
Yes, very much so. Massive
Yeah.
metal community again, and it is a community. Everybody helps each other out. It's a really good community here.
Nice, man. I love the culture of Ireland. Like you know, because I have a bar, we do an annual show every St. Patrick's Day on March
Really?
17th. And I have a band.
Nice.
It's actually not exactly a band. It's a choir of drunks. We call it it's a real story, man. I can show you some YouTubes. You'll be, I think,
What?
overwhelmed in some way because we drink.
Type Drunken Donuts.
The Drunken Donuts. He play bass there like everywhere, and
Yeah.
and like we perform once a year on March 17th. We do mostly Irish drinking songs like The Wild Rover or All for Me Grog or Beer 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 about Charlie Mops and everything. And I sing it, and I have a choir of 10 drunk people who sing in the back vocals with me. We do it every year, and this year, of course, due to coronavirus restrictions, it was actually canceled because like shows were banned in Israel on March 14th or 15th, if I recall, which is 2 or 3 days before the annual show.
Mm.
So the first thing we did once we were let go, once we were allowed to do shows again, was doing the Drunken Donuts. Like we stopped exactly where, and like we did it last week. That was last week, man. That was a crazy show, one of the craziest Drunken Donuts show ever.
That
And it
is
was-
much respect, man. Appreciate
Man,
that.
love it, sure, sure, man.
And have many Irish people come into your bar, Yehi?
I have a bar that is just across from me, just across. It's the biggest bar in Jerusalem, and it's called Dublin. If I
Ah.
just walk out now and turn around, you'll see the sign.
Ah, okay.
I'm just sitting across from it, and it's a very attractive tourist attraction, let's say. And a lot of them, I get maybe the leftovers because we're loud. We're a venue of live shows, so you can hear us also outside of my bar. And a lot of them are walking in, and they're looking for a real Irish bar, but in the end, they find a small rock and roll place just next door. So we
That's
actually get some Irish people, yeah.
Yeah, that's my idea of having a small rock and roll bar. Perfect, man.
Like a dive rock and roll bar with some live shows. Yeah.
What about the scene over in Israel? Is it predominantly? I know obviously Orphaned Land are probably the biggest.
Oh yeah.
Biggest out there. My own personal favorite would be Melekesh.
He's a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, MC. We grew up
Yeah,
together.
MC.
MC,
he's
yeah,
grew up, yeah.
really.
He's from Jerusalem. of
Yeah,
course.
every time he's in Jerusalem.
Yeah, he's one of my best customers in my bar. One of my best, buddies from who actually survived in the scene since the early '90s. There are very few of us. My
Yeah.
favorite band is maybe Ducatalon. Do you know them?
No.
I think they're signed by Relapse Records, and I really recommend them. They just released a new album. They're one of my favorite acts, period, not just from Israel. There's, of course, Bet Sefer, who were at Throwdown Records and now doing a comeback. Shredded is a very big band. They performed in my annual festival last year, and they were fucking awesome. And they also performed in front of the house of the Prime Minister.
What style of music? Is it heavy metal?
No, it's like a very extreme thrash metal, maybe Lemon
okay.
Kaddish.
Okay.
Yeah. They performed in front of the house of Benjamin Netanyahu last week or 2 weeks ago as part of the demonstration
Wow.
of the culture section in here that got really hurt by the coronavirus. Still is getting hurt.
Okay.
So that was amazing to see them performing in the middle of the street, of the main street, just outside of the PM's house. That was wow.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like
but-
Rage Against the Machine type effort.
Yeah, like what they did in Wall Street, something like that. Yeah.
And how do authorities view metal bands in general?
Sorry.
How do authorities view metal bands? Would you have a lot of hassle at gigs? Would there be?
No, it's all good.
No.
Yeah,
After Metallica's Black Album, that's shit stopped.
yeah,
So,
man. It
before
became
that,
so
yeah,
mainstream. Yeah.
before that, even the security in the shows that were organized for you to perform would beat you up, and you were the performer. So,
Jeez. Okay.
so,
The bad days.
so those days are over. I hope they won't return, but it's also a shame in some way, because I guess when something is more underground and more forbidden and more new, then it has some more appeal.
Okay.
And yeah, but nobody hassles us anymore. There was once a funny story that they wrote in the newspaper on his annual Big Metal Festival. The annual metal festival for all the cat slayers, because there is, that we sacrifice
joke.
cats and stuff.
As a joke.
As a
Yeah,
joke.
true.
And yeah, you want to say
Yeah,
how?
yeah, man. It was one of my festivals. So it was one metalhead who was working for a local newspaper, and just in jest, just as a joke, he wrote the headline, the party of the cat slashers. And then he wrote like there's an annual festival for heavy metal. It was in the early 90s or mid 90s. The municipality read it, and they sent the city veterinary, like and the health inspectors, just to check we're actually slaying cats over there. And I was like approached by some people in uniform that I don't know. They were not cops. There was something else, and they were like going, "Hi guys, we came for saving some cats." And I was like, "Oh, come on, that was a joke." He wrote in the actual article that it's a joke, that he's laughing and like mocking the stigma. You understand? And it didn't. That was the 90s, man. It would never happen today. It's a funny story from back then to show how, let's say, ignorant even the regime was towards the.
I think this was even 2000. That was quite new. This was quite new. I think it was
But that's
new.
still 20 years
In the
ago. But I think it
2000,
was anymore. I think it was.
yeah.
So here's one for you. What was the last European band you saw live in Israel?
Well, Iron Maiden just canceled, so let me think.
Cancelled.
Oh, yeah, wow, that was such a pity because
Maybe Testament. It was the last time.
Behemoth.
I saw something after.
The Testament.
I saw Behemoth, I think.
I saw
So Behemoth, you
Creator.
Yeah, Behemoth, I think it was my last band that I saw in Israel.
So
Okay.
hard to remember right now.
It was a...
And there was the Creator show. It was
I remember. I went to see Bongzilla.
Oh.
I actually went to see Bongzilla in Levantine. I think that was the last one that I went
Jesus
to.
Christ.
Oh yeah, man, I love them. I'm sorry, it's my guilty pleasure. I love them.
Yeah, cool.
Well, you're wearing a sleep t-shirt, so I mean, you can understand.
There you go. That's why I'm laughing, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
The last band I saw was Testament. Was that Testament tour with Exodus and Dead Angel? What a tour!
Yeah. They came here kind of recently, I think.
Yeah, they all got sick actually after hitting Europe.
Yeah, with the coronavirus.
But
really,
yeah, the good news is, that if Chuck Billy ever gets sick, they're going to they have your number and they're going to give you a ring. So Testament. So you've got the job, man. You've got the job if Chuck is ever sick.
All right, man. Thank you. I'm blushing. I have a beard, so you don't see it, but I am.
And that's all I could, listening to that album, Sway for Better, I was just thinking, Jesus Christ, man, Chuck Billy, fucking all day long.
Well, I admit he influenced me, but I think he's one of the best, and I'm not.
And the presence as well on stage as well, man. Fair fucks to you.
Thank you. This is really like to hear it from someone who's in the industry and someone who's so many more bands than me, I'm certain.
Yes, thousands, unfortunately.
Huge compliment.
Yes, man. And as I said, like even with the new single, well, the one I heard anyway, definitely your voice again at the front, aggressive. Chuck would be proud of you, man.
Oh man, I'm proud of him for just inventing it. You know, I'm just a follower and like a humble, you know, a
Mhm.
singer. I'm not even thinking I'm in the same level, but definitely is one of my influences.
Yeah.
Maybe the this one, yeah.
Yeah. To know, going back to Lunchtime Funeral, the video, did you finish that, or did you film that in isolation? And
Yeah,
then, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
we could have
Yeah,
done
yeah, yeah.
something better, I'm sure, but we did it because we wanted to do a video clip and we were hungry to do something. And in the end, you know what? It was also like a statement, you know, coronavirus will not stop us.
Mm.
So we made 3 video clips in very poor conditions. I'll tell you a secret. Like I took a shot, like I had to film myself
Okay.
with the flashlight on me. So they told me to pick a dark room, and the only dark room I have in my house is the bathroom. So just as a small
On the
secret
bowels
between
of
us.
hell.
Sure. Yeah, man. I was like
Rock and
in
roll,
front of
baby.
that's rock and roll, man. I was in front of the door with a flashlight on my face, singing the song, hearing it from the living room, and like filming it in isolation conditions. What could we do? But I'm happy with the result in the end.
Mm.
And if you take in consideration the the times and the abilities that we had, I think it was
It's nice.
Limitations.
It's nice to look back on that. Slava, you looked well in the video as well. How did you manage it?
He always looks well, man.
Thank you, first of all.
Women love him.
Actually, I shoot for 2 days, for 2 nights, this video. Yeah, I took it too serious. So yeah, with the lightning, I shot it in this room, in my room. So
Did you just
it
use
took me-
an iPhone?
I use my LG phone.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Very good. What about you, Roy?
I did it with my iPhone. I have a studio now. I'm old enough to
Yeah.
have a studio, so I did it in my studio, and my son now.
Videoed it. Very good.
Yeah, and we did it, and the funny thing is that I opened the amps. I wanted them to be shining, even though you don't see it, but they are actually lit. So I actually played the song. It's not the video, but I actually played exactly. And then I listened, and I said, wow. We were like, it was like a month and a half home, and I said, oh, I forgot how hard it is to play Sintax music that I haven't played so much. And my hand was like,
Yeah, the hand.
that song is hard, and the solos and stuff.
You're going to have
I
to
need
get
to give
tour
it a
fit
shake.
now. You're going to have to
Yeah.
get tour fit now as well.
We all need to
We are having the Pantera tribute and the Motorhead tribute, and once doing a Pantera tribute, getting into the shape of doing Dimebag Darrell.
It's funny to say, but this is how we make the little sums of money that covers all of our expenses.
Mm.
They covers in some venues that we actually can charge tickets, and then with the entrance fee and the share that we get, we actually pay for all of our stuff. So
Have you got new merch coming on to support the new album?
it's in the agenda. It's like as soon as the album will come out, we will have new T-shirts, and we're thinking about other stuff. It's still in discussion,
Okay.
but it's about to happen. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, a lot of businesses were now just reopening. So anyone
course,
to
yeah.
print shirts, anyone to print stuff. So people now just starting to get to work. But
Have you got, it's a common theme in my podcast, have you got obsession with vinyl in Israel?
We have a friend that's called Marius. He has such a big collection. He always send me to all kind of places to go and buy stuff for him, buy new vinyls. In Jerusalem, there is a little bit of a scene. There are at least 2 record stores in here. Interesting. It's
people are
Actually, I
doing
have a
vinyl
collection.
now, and
Yeah,
and I don't
I have a pretty big collection of vinyls.
Mm. Yeah, it's an obsession over here. It's an obsession.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it. And most Irish bands, even though they are independent, will pay a lot of money just to have a vinyl release as well with their CD
Yeah,
and their
I saw vinyls in the bookstore.
Hmm.
Regular
No,
bookstore, they have
in
vinyls
here,
for mainline music. It's now new, Stimatsky. And I said,
Hmm.
okay, if Stimatsky are now putting vinyl back on the shelves, so probably something is happening. I knew that the metal community, everybody's doing, there are people, vinyls.
Yeah.
But I just saw mainstream music, regular music you hear on the radio, in a regular bookstore, and they opened a vinyl
yeah.
stand.
Also, didn't Aralu did it? Our friends. We have a black metal band, which is our
Yeah,
friends,
black
and
metal
he's doing
always
it.
does vinyl.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's more
cassettes.
of a black thing. Yeah, I think so.
Because people don't have a CD anymore, a CD player. But if
Ah,
they
we
really
do,
want
we do.
something not digital, a lot of people, they have vinyl. Some went back to cassette. I didn't get the appeal of cassette. Vinyl, I understand. But
Yeah,
cassettes,
I will struggle with cassettes. A lot of black metal bands, again in Europe, are releasing cassettes, and we have nothing to play them on.
Yeah, I hear about it also. We have at least two labels. Orgasmatron Records is an ex-Jerusalemite who now lives in Tel Aviv. He has a label that only produces cassette,
Huh.
like audio cassette. This is
See, we're old enough, Yehi and Roy. We're old enough to remember Walkmans.
Of
yeah.
course.
And I remember
My
how
childhood,
thrilled we are when there was the CDs, and it was much better. And no, not all the hiss and stuff, and the Walkman chewed my cassette. You remember that?
So many
Take
times.
it out, and then and you have that like sound where it when it
when it crumbles. Yeah.
when
Oh,
it
yeah.
crumbles, yeah. And then I don't see the appeal. It doesn't sound better. It's susceptible to many stuff. You need a Walkman. Oh,
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it though, Roy, back then it allowed us to actually leave the house and listen to music on a Walkman. You left the house and you listened to the latest Metallica stuff
yeah.
on Slayer, walking around your town onto the beach, and you had it.
I
It was
think
a
some of
it
my
was a
hearing
progress.
deficiencies are part. Some of my hearing deficiencies are not my big Marshall amps, are the Walkmans that when I was growing up, because I was turning up TDM, and it's not like my phone
And it was
today
never
that
enough.
It has like limitation. It's never enough. I just open it as plastic. It's like people walking near me and they hear it like a mile away. Today they have like limitation. If the iPhone is like a bit too loud, the European Union, they told them that it's loud, it can hurt your hearing. They took it a bit down, so the maximum volume on the iPhone is not that loud.
Yeah.
So in one perspective, it's good. In the other, some music you can't listen without it damaging your hearing.
Like Slava, this is all news to Slava now. He hasn't a clue what we're on.
No, actually not. I'm not that young. I'm 30 years old, and I used to have a Walkman and a CD player, and then an iPod and everything. So yeah, I used to record on cassette from
cassette to a
CDs.
cassette, double cassette. Yeah.
Double cassette.
Not double cassette. From CD to cassette.
CD to
My.
cassette, yeah.
CD to cassette, yeah.
Jesus, I never achieved that. I just remember recording from cassette to cassette.
Me too. That was my child. We used to go five fellows together, like to a store. Each one of us used to buy, like I used to buy Dayside Legion, and he used to buy Sepultura I Rise.
Ah,
I
class.
used to buy, King Diamond, whatever, like Abigail or I don't know what. And then like we used to record it for each other. Each one of us bought one cassette that is original for like 30 or 50 shekels or whatever it used to cost back then. And then like we used to buy like empty cassettes, like 2 or 3 or 4 of them, and each one records the rest of them. Sorry, King Diamond, for stealing your music. I was a child. It was the only way I could, be exposed to music financially. It wasn't like today that in a click of a button you do it. But this is how we actually managed to do stuff,
Yeah, it's incredible.
And there is something, when things are too simple, like I open iTunes or Spotify and I have like 1,000 songs and I can listen to this and that. It's not as special as that you have to go to and get it from your friend and pay the money for every album. So you listen to an album. My son, I gave him like good music education, and I gave him all the classic. And even bands that he likes, and he listened to older music, he still remembers singles. Even though he listened to the entire, he doesn't know sometimes from which album the song is. Even though he listened to the entire collection of the band.
Yeah.
And he liked it, like the band that he really liked, but he doesn't really, his mind is wired in singles now.
Yeah.
He remembers this song and that song that he liked.
I wonder that with Spotify, I don't think people have the patience to listen to a whole album on Spotify anymore, unless they're driving somewhere. Whereas back when we were buying cassettes and CDs and vinyl, we used to listen to the whole album and turn it onto the next side. And, you know, I don't think that's there because it's so easy now.
And today there are the approachable songs. And in an album, there's always the unapproachable songs. And sometimes they're gems. But you really need to work on it a few times to get all the stuff. But today, it doesn't. So I would just listen to the catchy song, like, Metallica, the Black Album. Enter Sandman, that's the song, nothing else matters. You just sift through, even though in that album there's not a lot of hidden gems, if you ask me. But let's say that there are a bit more interesting tracks there, but you won't get there because why would you listen to a track? I remember I used to listen to a track 100 times, and every time I found something new.
Yeah.
And sometimes a friend told me, I don't like this album. You need to listen to it more. And somewhere in the 100 and the 200, and you start seeing things that you haven't seen or hearing stuff, and it affects you emotionally differently. And you know, something in the instant way things are done, you kind of lose that. And no concept albums. And
how many tracks on the new album, lads? If you don't mind me asking.
8, right?
8 tracks. 8 tracks.
Yeah, 8, right. 8.
Okay. Yeah, and so the new single is out today then, yeah?
Yeah, we just released it a few hours ago, yeah.
Second one.
That's brilliant. Okay, I'm going to leave you go, and I'm just sending the love from Ireland, and thank you for taking the time to come on the show.
Thank you, Mitch. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks. It was great.
And be sure to listen to more Irish music, man. I'm going to send you on links.
Send me some links, and I'm going to send it to the
guys. Yeah, pass it to us, man.
Yeah.
We will put it on on next Sunday. We have a metal night at the Blaze, and I promise you guys that I'm going to play at least 2 songs from each band that you send me. So send them.
That's a good deal, man. That's a good deal.
Or a little bit of exposure. Why not?
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Much appreciated.
Sure, man. Yes.
Have a great day.
All right. Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Okay. That's it.